explain some of the game features and what's been happening really at Codemasters Birmingham since we acquired the license back in 2008. The initial stage really towards the tail end of 2008 was just to get some high level design ideas together and to do really a lot of racing research as to what previous F1 games had been doing, what features they offered, when the last game came out, and really just understand where they sat in the market space, and both positive and negative comments for it. Both myself and Steve both worked on F1 games previously. We both joined Codemasters explicitly to work on F1, so we already came to Codemasters Birmingham with a load of ideas of what we wanted to do with the game. It was clear from the racing research really from the beginning that Formula 1 games were considered quite dry, quite boring, a little bit too difficult maybe, and really haven't invented themselves, certainly since the Jeff Crammond series of the late 90s seems to be the last of the popular Formula 1 games, and then over the course of like EA and the Sony titles on consoles, they haven't really performed very well, and they haven't innovated, and they've delivered the same feature set. So there's obviously a level of historical expectation there of what F1 fans want and of what they've been used to. So the game design is really split into two key components. It's be the driver and live the life. Be the driver is all the on-track stuff that has been before and some new stuff as well. So we're talking car physics, AI, damage, pit stops, weather, all these type of things that happen on the racetrack itself. That have existed in previous games, but in each case we've tried to better it or succeed it in F1 2010. We'll have a look at that when we go onto the track. But I'll hand you over to Steve, who's really going to delve into a little bit of the live the life and some of the innovation that's gone on there to really bring F1 to the masses and to make players feel like the driver, the superstar, as opposed to feel like the car.
Yeah, I think it's important to say that early on when we started this project, we were talking to people about making a new Formula 1 game. Everybody would just say to us, well, we've played them before, we know what you're going to do, you're going to have the tracks and the cars and the drivers, and we've seen it, all you're going to do is have a couple of new tracks and the new teams. But as far as Paul and I are concerned, there's so many things that you can do with Formula 1, there's so much stuff that you get to see on TV, it's always in the newspapers, it's always in the magazines. What we're trying to do here with Live the Life is completely authentic. It's the stuff that you see on a build-up before the race. You see the commentators walking around, interviewing the drivers. They're interested in the world that goes on around them. There's so many things that happen in the paddock lane that's never been replicated in a game before. You end up just clicking to go to a track, you go to the next circuit, you feel like you're going ABC, it's all by the numbers. What we're trying to do is kind of push you into the world of Formula 1. So even something as simple as, for example, you're stepping in the paddock lane here, you're at the first race of the season, you're at Bahrain, so the paddock's changed. People in the background walking past change, you get a different atmosphere. We're trying to inject that feeling of moving around the globe, going to the different circuits. It's about progressing through the championship throughout that year. So here, for example, you're the rookie guy in Formula 1. It's on it's fairly easy difficulty level here, short career, so this guy's starting his career as a rookie at Williams. People aren't particularly interested in him. You've just got one cameraman there, a reporter, more interested in talking amongst themselves than having a chat with a player. You're the new guy in the world of Formula 1, but as you start to succeed, you're sparking rumours of going to new teams, you may be getting an offer from Ferrari, people are interested in the media story, so they'll be rushing down to the paddock, they'll come and speak to you here. When the media guys aren't interested in talking to you, they might be talking to your teammate, maybe he's stealing on the limelight from you. You get to see some engineers hanging around here, you see these guys in the garage as well. We're trying to give you that feeling of belonging to a team. You're not just waiting to leave the likes of Williams to go to maybe your favourite team, Ferrari or McLaren. You can build these teams up over time. You get used to all the guys, everything's themed, the trucks, with the cars, the steering wheels, the sound and the performance of the teams, to make you feel as though you're part of Williams. So maybe when you get to the end of the season, and all along you've been thinking, I want to go to Team X in the future, you've built up this relationship with the team, and maybe you'll have second thoughts about leaving them. In the driver's room in here, one of the team trucks, you've got an agent. We've used this kind of concept in our games previously. It's pretty useful for the world of Formula 1. You have an agent that's dealing with contract negotiations with you. So she gives you like the early heads up on things. You might be hearing some rumours about a team being interested in you or a driver commenting on your performances, but the agent knows in a bit more detail what's going on. She might say to you, be careful of the things that you send to the media, or we're not doing very well for Williams this season, we might not get a contract with you, we need to do well at the next race, these kind of things, just to give the players some subtle reminders. In career mode you play as yourself, so you can pick all different helmet designs, bits and pieces in here. This is really focused around the career mode for you, if you like. If we go back into the paddock now, maybe we'll go into a quick Grand Prix. Grand Prix mode is all about, it's a simplistic race series. You will have seen these things before in other racing games. This is just a small part about, you pick the race that you want to go to, you get the weather conditions, you can create your own mini championship if you want. What track we're going to pick to go into now? Montreal. So you've got the paddock side here. What we're also keen to do is, you've got something between the paddock and the racetrack as well. You've got the garage atmosphere. You see this on TV as well. You can see the crew milling around the car, you can see your teammate in there, just to give you that feeling of atmosphere during the race weekend. That's especially important in something like qualifying. We've got the 3 qualifying knockout rounds. So you can see the team becoming more and more agitated as the session wears on.
There's 2 other points to make about the media before we transition into the garage. Their questions are obviously based around your performances against your competitors. Are you doing well? You're not doing well, and the incidents that happen on the racetrack. Also, your responses to those questions can have quite a dramatic effect on your game experience. So you might choose to take credit yourself, raise your profile in F1, maybe get interest from other teams, but that's not necessarily going to do you any favours within your own team. Sometimes you need to praise your team in the interviews so that they deliver performance parts throughout the season, or maybe criticise them if those developments aren't coming through fast enough. So that's really the main use of media. It's your feedback mechanism for how well you're doing in the game, but there's also some elements to try and push future things into your path quicker.
Yeah, so here I was sitting in the garage, you've got your mechanics working around you. We're in pre-race sessions, so they're not doing anything on the car now. In career mode, you can look across to your teammate, you can interact with the teammate, compare your stats. Is he beating me in qualifying? Have I got more points than him? Who's the number 1 in the team currently? When you're the number 1 in the team, you can determine the team's development direction as well. So what we have found during developing this car is players have got slightly different styles, much like famously Jenson Button and Lewis Hamilton have got different styles in McLaren. Players have got different styles as well. So this feeds into the single player in the sense that you'll find that you prefer a certain car setup. During the off-season, the team are rebuilding the cars, it's redesigned, and it comes back the following year with the subtle differences. And when you're actually paired with a teammate that's got a different style to you, it can cause you some problems. So you're constantly battling in the season to become the number 1 driver, so that you can then attune the car to your preferences. You've got things like simple tyre menus. You can see it raining outside, for example, and you'll just be able to change the tyres very quickly rather than getting top down into car setup. You've got a car monitor that's in front of you here. You get to see this a lot on TV. It has all the standard information such as how am I doing in qualifying, what's my team objective this weekend. Teams understand where they sit in the hierarchy of all the different outfits. So for example, if you're driving for Lotus at the beginning of the season, they're not expecting you to win races. They'd be more than happy if you can get to qualifying too, more than happy if you can just beat the new teams on the grid. But that changes over time as well. So maybe you'll turn Lotus into championship contenders. The objectives go up with that as well, and they expect more of you.
Car setup. At each stage of a feature where it's existed previously, we've tried to make the feature a little bit more authentic, and also try to think about what different players are going to want. So just taking a feature like car setup, obviously there's been a lot of work on this, particularly on the PC sim Formula games that have come before. Players are going to want to tweak around with all these different things and improve them themselves. But when you go to the F1 races and talk to the engineers and talk to the drivers, they don't actually make massive improvements to the car setup at the track itself. In terms of, they only bring Monaco, like the high downforce wings, to the street circuits. You're not gonna have your Monza set up at Monaco. So the cars are already reasonably set up for the race itself. So you can just drive out and get some pretty good lap times. You're not going to be penalised too much for that. But there's definitely time to be found for tweaking the car setup itself. There's also a mid-level option with the race engineer where, if the wet weather conditions or the weather conditions coming in look a little bit changeable, then you can quickly set up your car so that it's a little bit more top speed or a little bit more grip, or however you want it to handle. We just head out to the track.
Let's fire up the engine.
So what I've done in here as well, you've got quite a good shot here of the steering wheel. We've tried to theme these per team as well, just to give you that further feeling of belonging to a Force India or Ferrari, McLaren, these kind of things. But also, some of the buttons on there are interactive as well, so you can do things when you're driving around, such as dial the engine performance up, dial it down, change the front wing settings, and I personally quite like that all the little animations that work in the steering wheel as well. It makes it feel a bit more. The see it pretty well when you're in a cockpit view. My preference is actually TV camera. I've used it in many places where I love that.
The engines according to different fitting manufacturers as well, so there'll be slightly different changes in engine tones if you're driving a car with a Renault engine or the same engine or in the game as well. As Steve said, the cars have different performance attributes and different handling characteristics, so you might have a preference for a particular team and you want to set up that car to drive in a particular way. The names that you can see, all the on-screen displays on full at the moment, that's all fully customisable. You can turn various elements off. But really the key information in terms of who's around you, there's some different coloured cars on the map, that's really tuned into where's your main rival in the game, where's your teammate. Later on in the championships, where's your championship rival, who are you aiming to finish above on the World Championship table, they'll all become clear. Obviously, for people who aren't massive fans of F1, we've also got the driver names above them, so you can see, you can use the media to put pressure on drivers, so you can call out to someone like Alshwari and say that you're going to beat him, that's going to apply pressure on him, so you'll see that reflected in the game board as well.
One of the things we've tried to do as well with the some of the more simulation aspects, like the tyre status. Normally you get a little graphic on the side of the screen that tells you your tyres are red or green or whatever. Okay, because we're using open wheelers now, and there's that graphical fidelity there, you can actually see the quality of your tyres. So for example, if you're driving on wets and they're starting to overheat or are worn down, you can see the quality of the tyre itself change. You can see when it picks up grass and the rubbish that comes into the tyre.
So from taking the tech that existed in Dirt 2, we've obviously spent a lot of time rewriting car physics, moving it in a different direction for Formula 1. From the data we got given from the teams and dealing with the engineers, we've also been working with Formula 1 drivers to develop the handling characteristics that they get in real cars. And that's also transferred into the race experience that we want. We don't just want the car handling to be the be all and end all of the game, it's also about the AI as well, making them feel, I'm sure every racing game says this, but making them feel like they are actually proper opponents as opposed to clones that follow a racing line and they're quite easy to overtake. So all of them are trained with race behaviours such as blocking an inside line, pulling out of the toe, trying to weave a little bit to shake you off. They've all got those behaviours. We've also then gone into the world of Formula 1 and tried to pick some other attributes. So people like Alonso and Hamilton are a little bit more aggressive. Some drivers are better off the line than others. Some drivers are better in the wet. Some drivers are likely to make more mistakes if you pressurise them either on the racetrack or through the media. Other drivers are likely to take that and raise their game. So there's really quite a few AI traits that are specific to drivers, favourite tracks, all these types of things.
I think there's also something beyond that as well. In the racing side, one of the trickiest things to do in a Formula 1 game is replicate what happens in real life. There's such small gaps between the drivers, especially qualifying or the races. We've got to make it consistent enough for players so that they can be working out that I'm 2 seconds behind this guy, now they're pulling away by another half second. When you talk about such fine detail in time gaps between cars, it's extremely difficult. Most racing games, you'll probably